Still says that it's starting, but it's that we're off. We are now live and on air. All right, so welcome to episode 30, TLC, Tech Learn Coffee. I am your host, along with Nancy Minicozzi. My name is Lisa Nowakowski, and I'm a fifth grade teacher in South Monterey County.
And I'm Nancy. I'm an ed tech coach in Northwest LA County.
Should I introduce myself? I'm Kristen Beck, and I am a curriculum coordinator for 2 more weeks, and then I'll be going back into the classroom and teaching first grade for the first time ever in my 27-year teaching career.
And welcome. We are so happy to have you. So just as a reminder, this is a 15-minute format because why? Well, because ain't nobody got time for more than that. That's why.
So if you're familiar with our podcast, you know that we
have a coffee fact.
We always have the random coffee fact. So today's random coffee fact has to do with the freshness of your coffee. Coffee begins to lose freshness almost immediately after roasting. So you should try to buy it in small batches more frequently, just enough for 1 or 2 weeks. And to make sure that it lasts as long as possible, store it in a cool place inside an opaque, airtight container.
We do coffee facts. And so welcome. So tonight's guest is Kristen Beck, and welcome, Kristen. And she'll be talking to us tonight about Dollar Tree Makerspace. Doesn't that sound exciting? So Kristen, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, those sorts of things.
Okay, so I've been an educator for I'm just finishing up my 27th year. I have taught in California, Nevada, Idaho. I've taught grades 3rd through 8th. In the last 4 years, I've been a curriculum coordinator and instructional coach for technology and also STEAM. And I'm looking forward to going back into the classroom next year. And I am going to go into first grade. So changing districts, changing grade levels, and just getting a fresh start. So that's what I'm up to.
That's exciting. Fresh starts and new beginnings are always exciting, and entering those new chapters of our lives.
Yes.
So how do you define makerspace? That is a big, it's a big topic right now. So how do you define it? It isn't always just tech and coding, which is what some people equate it to.
So for me, especially since I started playing with makerspaces in elementary, it's more of I sort of look at it as the A in STEAM, or the creativity part, and also the challenge part, the engineering standards. So we try and do hands-on things with materials, and also I like to take things and repurpose them into something else. So this last weekend, we were cutting open electric toothbrushes from Dollar Tree to get the motors out of them to build Scribbleots. So taking what was an electric toothbrush and turning it into something else. And I like using the physical things and having the kids, and of course coding and tech is, there's physical, they're touching things, but for the younger kids, giving them a challenge and issuing them something to make out of the materials that I've given them, and try and figure out how to do that.
Okay, sorry, I'm having trouble with my internet this evening, so I wasn't sure if it had froze. I think it froze on me just a little bit at the end there. But I love that you took apart to make the Scribbleots. That is super creative. Wow. Okay, stealing that idea too. So, what inspired you to create a dollar store version of Makerspace?
So what happened was, in my coaching position, I was tasked with providing STEAM coaching for 3 teachers who had combination classes once a week for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And so what I started doing was I had attended a Q Rockstar admin and Ramsey Masalam was there he was there as a sort of a teacher to show the admin innovative teaching strategies. And so because I was coaching at the time, I went to all of his sessions. And so he and I kind of sat down and he was showing me, we had played with electric circuits and Play-Doh. And he just gave them to us and kind of made us play. And then later he showed us a picture to give us an idea. So what I took from that was, okay, I'm going to give the kids a challenge. I'm going to give them materials. And then after they've struggled and tried to do it for a little while, then I'll give them information about, hey, why don't you try this or why don't you try that? And so I sort of copied him, basically. I stole everything that he does. And so we sat for a while together and he was talking about taking those fire starters, those spark starters at the Dollar Tree and turning those into other things, and showed me blogs and YouTube channels of these kids that are doing these things. So I'm the type of person that will go and believe that what somebody does is successful and just go and play. And so luckily our STEAM classes were a place for me to do that, and the teachers were really open to it. And so what ended up happening was every time before STEAM time, I would go to Dollar Tree to get all my supplies. So I would be going to Dollar Tree weekly to get all my things for the maker activities that we were doing. So then I was like, hey, Dollar Tree Makerspace.
That is fantastic. So apparently and clearly your administrator was on board with this too then.
Yes.
Since you were tasked to come up with a STEAM class.
Yes. And what we decided was we thought that it might help change the pedagogy of the teachers. And then because I was with I was one teacher at every site that I was coaching. And so then the other teachers were, hey, can you come and do this in my room? Can you come and do this in my room? So it was sort of that changing the pedagogy and giving the teachers a chance to see what their kids can do. So, one of the reasons why I'm going into first grade and I feel okay about it is because I'm watching first graders do what fifth graders did the day before. And this last week I was in a fifth grade classroom and they were like, I don't know what to do. Can we Google it? And I got to look at them and say, hey, well, the first graders figured it out last week by themselves without having to Google it. So could you just try and play with it a little bit first? So it's kind of fun to do that also.
So did you notice a change in the pedagogy with the teachers that you had worked with or within the schools that you had worked with?
So there's definitely a shift. The ones that had me weekly, yes, I mean, they looked at things, they took more risks, they started integrating technology more, and then they started slowly giving me ideas and what they wanted to try, and so they were co-planning and co-teaching. But it was also nice, like a teacher, it helped me build relationships, so a teacher could call and say, oh, we're doing covered wagons. I want to do a covered wagon design challenge. I don't want to just do a cookbook covered wagon. So then I would make a whole hyperdoc with the challenge, the information, the materials, so they could do some research and make it design thinking too. So that sort of was the next step, was not just doing a one-shot maker, but now turning it into a design challenge and more design thinking. So it's kind of evolved a little bit.
Nice. That sounds so exciting. Those are really great. That's so inspiring. So what have been some of the biggest successes that you've had with this, and what have been some of the biggest failures?
Okay. I think the biggest successes are just the learning that I've had by spending the time in the classes, and each year I've been in the first grade, a 1-2 combo or first grade, and just seeing that I would do one activity with I'd had a 1-2, a 3, a 2-3, and a 4-5. And so seeing how each grade level does it differently, but I loved doing the same activity across, because the first graders, when we're doing a straw activity, they might be two-dimensional on the floor where the other kids are building towers. And so just seeing that different way that the kids learn and the different levels, and that everybody can do it. I think one of the biggest challenges is
cool.
Going into like different rooms and being the teacher and having, it's being that coach role, is building the relationships and having that trust with the teachers. And a couple of them didn't like, and so that was a challenge for me, because our our pedagogy and our philosophy was a little bit different. To me, failing was just like, okay, well, we all ended up with a pile of nothing today, and we learned how not to do it. And sometimes a couple of teachers would be like, well, you need to plan, you need to do this, you should have done it before. And I'm like, no. And so, those little things, but those are easy things to work through. And,
it's that mindset of teachers to allowing us to be failures as well and be willing to fail in front of kids too, which can be really scary, I think.
Yes, and it's just fear. So I obviously have no fear because we've came out of quite a few times with lots of piles of nothing.
That's great. So hopefully you've also inspired other teachers, the teachers that you worked with and others to just go ahead and be a failure sometimes, because that's okay. And you're right. That's we figure out how not to do it.
Yeah.
So I know you said you're going into first grade next year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But if you were to continue this, I'm sure in some version you will be continuing. Will you be continuing the Dollar Store Makerspace?
Yes. So, and that's the thing I'm excited about, because I think that I'm going to be able to take it to that design level. Because I'll have time with the kids. So I'm planning on, when I was in the classroom before in elementary, I used to have science Thursdays where we would get the FOSS kits out and we just do science all day because it was easier than trying to do a little bit. And of course, the other days I'll do a lot of literacy-based stuff, so I'm gonna have a design thinking or something where I'll give them their maker challenge, and then that will be sort of the spark. And then we'll do some research and look at information, and then from there, turn it into a design challenge where they need to go in and really do some more planning and ideating and all of those steps. And so I'll be doing it every week like I was before, but it'll just be I think it'll be more, it'll be a little bit more meaningful, because eventually it'll turn into where the kids are doing their own. So we'll do a couple together, a whole class to teach them the process. And I already have, we're going to start the year by redesigning the classroom and the learning space. And we're going to try and design cost-effective furniture that maybe we could pair up with the high school or the middle school and their shop classes, and maybe do some manufacturing or fabrication and make our own furniture for our classroom. So they're standing, sitting, all sorts of different things. But I want the kids involved because I want them to study how they learn best and what situations do they need to stand, when do they want to sit on the pillow. So that's our first beginning of the year. Those are my ideas. So.
That's exciting for a kid to walk into a classroom and for the teacher to say, you're going to help design this space, instead of coming into one that's already, done. And they're always done so beautifully, especially you first grade teachers. But to have the kids take ownership over that's wonderful. So if somebody wants to start this either in their classroom or at their school, how can they get started? Like, what advice do you have for them?
So I attached a couple of, I attached one document, I was going to attach another one and share some of my resources. And I would just say, I have a couple good, there's a gal who is Frugal Fun for Boys and Girls, and she posts blog posts and does all sorts of different things. And it's a great resource. But yeah, I'll share the resources. 15 minutes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I don't want to interrupt, but I'm interrupting because we do have our 15-minute limit. That was 14 minutes, so we're going to give you a minute to wrap up and finish your any final thoughts.
Okay.
So,
I was just going to say, I think you guys had a place for me to share resources, so I would just say, go to Dollar Tree and look around, and there's so many. They have popsicle sticks, straws. That's usually where I start. And so they do a straw building, tallest tower, and then they have to draw or make the tallest tower that will support a golf ball. And that's always fun because the golf balls are heavy. And so we do straw labyrinths and mazes and roller coasters. And I have all those activities on a sheet that I shared, a Google Doc that I shared with you guys. So.
Excellent. And we will be sharing that information out too on our website so that everybody can see it.
Yeah, and I have a start of a Dollar Tree Makerspace Google site that I'm creating for my IEC portfolio. So it's under construction, but there are some things on there too. So those were the two resources.
Excellent. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
And we'll share that out as well too.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So thank you so much for being our guest. Thank you to everyone who is listening. If you enjoyed the show, and of course you totally did, Kristen was awesome. Down at the bottom there, that's where the comments go. So please leave us a comment to let us know what you thought. If you've done something with a Makerspace or she's given you an idea, let us know what it is. Click up here to subscribe. And if you want to see our other episodes, you can click this button over here. Please join us on Monday, June 19th, when our guest will be Jeff Faust, we think. So, but definitely join us June 19th.
We'll keep you all in suspense.
We'll keep you in suspense. It's definitely going to be somebody fabulous.
Yes. And remember, we are always looking for guests to share all the great things that they're doing in the classrooms. If you know of somebody who fits this bill, or if you'd like to be our guest, please go ahead and visit our website, tlc.ninja, and complete the contact form to let us know. Thanks, and see you in 2 weeks.